Welcome to Stories for Sleep, a place where scientific stories are slowed down, softened, so your mind can gently loosen its grip and drift naturally towards sleep. In this video, we will step together into a very quiet world, the world of flowers, not to learn more facts, not to remember anything, but simply to listen to the gentlest truths about flowers told in a dreamy, scientific way. When night falls, flowers do not loudly display their colors. They quietly sense light, temperature, and the rhythm of time, and connect with the world around them in ways so subtle they are almost unbelievable. If you are tired or simply longing to rest, you do not need to concentrate. Let this voice remain like a very light breeze, allowing the stories to pass through while your body gently finds its own way back to calm. So now make yourself comfortable. Close your eyes if you wish. And together with Stories for Sleep, begin this gentle journey. Perhaps it has been a long time since you last saw a flower, but did not truly see it. In the fast rhythm of daily life, flowers often pass by as mere decoration, a color along the road, a fleeting scent, a beautiful image captured and quickly forgotten. But tonight, when the world has softened, when you no longer need to rush to understand anything, no longer need to react or remember, when you only need to listen, a flower may open a completely different story. In the psychology of Carl Gustav Jung, there is a deep and beautiful idea. The natural world does not exist only outside us, but also reflects the hidden structures deep within the human mind. What we call the unconscious symbols, or silent wisdom, does not live only in human dreams, but is present throughout nature, in forests, in stone, in water, and even in the small flowers we so often overlook. This video was not created to teach you more knowledge. It is not meant for memorizing species names, biological terms, or scientific figures. It was created to soothe the mind. Because many of us carry a very particular kind of exhaustion, tired from constant thinking, tired from controlling, tired from feeling that we must always understand things correctly. But flowers are not like that. They have no brains, no thoughts, no consciousness as humans define it. And precisely because of this, flowers operate through a different kind of intelligence, an intelligence that is slow, precise, quiet, and completely free of strain. Carl Jung once suggested that modern humans have lost their connection to more ancient layers of intelligence, layers that do not speak in words but in images, rhythms, and sensations. And flowers are one of those ancient languages. In the journey ahead, you will gradually discover that flowers sense their surroundings in ways astonishingly subtle. Flowers communicate through color, scent, heat, vibration, and electric fields. Flowers guide the behavior of insects and flowers, birds without force. Flowers function as near-perfect, biological machines, shaped by millions of years of evolution. Flowers survive in the harshest environments, where life seems impossible. Flowers sit at the center of vast, invisible living networks, and the time of flowers is entirely different from human time. Yet none of this will be told in a dry way. It will be shared slowly, like a whispered story, so you never need to tense yourself to receive it. From a Jungian perspective, when humans encounter natural symbols in a safe and gentle way, the mind relaxes on its own. No effort required, no forcing. And flowers, with their stillness, precision, and patience, are among the most powerful healing symbols of all. If you are listening to this video at night, you do not need to follow every word. You may let the voice pass by, allow images to appear and fade, and let your mind do what it already knows how to do when it feels safe, self-regulate. This video does not need you to stay awake. It does not demand focus. It does not require full understanding. It simply invites you to listen and to let the flowers tell their story. A story that is not loud, not rushed, not in need of conclusions, just gentle enough for you to continue listening to what comes next, or if you wish to fall asleep without even noticing when it happens. Part 1. Flowers as intelligent beings in their own way. When people think about intelligence, they usually imagine a brain, a control center, a place that thinks, calculates, and makes decisions. But flowers have no brains, no eyes, no ears, no nervous system as we commonly define it. And because of this, for a very long time, flowers were seen as passive, simply standing still, simply blooming, simply fading, simply decorating the world without truly participating in it. Yet when science began to listen to flowers with more patience, when humans learned to observe more slowly, a very gentle truth gradually revealed itself. Flowers are not less intelligent. They are intelligent in a different way. Intelligence does not require a brain. Flowers do not think in concepts. They do not plan through reasoning. But flowers sense. And sensing at its deepest level is the foundation of all intelligence. Flowers sense tiny vibrations in the air, sounds created by insects as they approach, changes in light throughout the hours of the day, subtle differences in temperature, moisture in soil and air, not through a single sense, but through their entire bodies. Carl Gustav Jung believed that there are forms of awareness that do not require consciousness, forms he referred to as psychic perception, a level of sensing where there is no thinking in words. Flowers exist precisely at this level. Flowers as living sensory systems. Every petal, every cell, every fiber participates in reading the world. Flowers can open or close their petals within minutes as light changes, adjust their scent depending on the time of day, respond differently to vibrations from wind and from insects, alter their biological rhythms when the environment becomes unsafe. There is no central command, yet there is perfect coordination. In Jungian psychology, this mirrors unconscious intelligence, a form of knowing that does not require the ego to direct it, distinguishing ally and intruder without thinking. Flowers do not know friend or enemy in a moral sense, but they distinguish very clearly which insects help with pollination, which ones only come to take nectar, when to open, when to close. Flowers can change the sweetness of nectar, adjust their physical shape, release different chemical compounds. Flowers do not respond randomly. They respond precisely. Jung wrote in The Structure and Dynamics of the Psyche, the unconscious is not chaotic, it is instinctively ordered. Flowers are a living expression of that instinctive order. Near instant adjustment, no waiting, no central processing, no decision-making. When conditions change, flowers change with them. Light weakens petals close, temperature rises, scent disperses differently. Unfamiliar vibrations, biological responses activate. This is the intelligence of complete presence. Flowers do not think about the past. They do not worry about the future. They live entirely in the moment. And this is why flowers become such powerful healing symbols in Jungian psychology. Flowers as mirrors of a forgotten human intelligence. Modern humans often believe that more thinking is better, more control is safer, understanding everything is necessary. But flowers reveal another path, a path of sensitivity rather than control, a path of response rather than analysis. Jung believed that the deepest layer of the human psyche, the unconscious, operates by the same principles. Why flowers can calm the human mind. When you look at a flower, your mind slows down, not because the flower is beautiful, but because it does not demand thought. Flowers do not require judgment, memory, reaction. They invite you back into pure sensing, a state your mind once knew well before you learned how to worry. A sleep-oriented perspective. Flowers as a gentle reminder. If you are tired right now, if thoughts are still lingering, remember this. There are beings that live their entire lives without thinking the way you do, and they exist just fine. Flowers do not try to be intelligent. They simply are. They have no brains, yet they have intelligence. No words, yet they have language. No consciousness, yet they possess deep precision. And in the next part, we will step further into this world where flowers communicate with all of nature using every sense available to them in ways so subtle that humans are only just beginning to notice. You do not need to remember this. Just let it be there, like a flower blooming quietly in the dark. In the previous part, we touched a very calm truth. Flowers have no brains, yet they are far from passive. They sense the world with their entire bodies, respond with precision, and exist in a state of complete presence. Once the world is sensed, one inevitable thing happens. Flowers begin to communicate with it, not through words, not through sounds as humans understand them, but through everything that nature allows. Part 2. Multi-sensory communication with pollinators. If you have ever thought that flowers simply attract insects through beauty alone, the truth is gentler and far more complex. Each flower is a living dialogue. Not a dialogue made of words, but of light, scent, warmth, vibration, electric fields, texture, and movement. Carl Gustav Jung once wrote in The Symbolic Life, nature speaks in symbols, not in concepts. And flowers are among the most subtle symbolic languages nature has ever created. Color, a language of light beyond human vision. Humans see flowers through a very limited range of color, but many pollinators, bees, butterflies, birds see entirely different patterns. Flowers use ultraviolet light, specialized light reflections, runway-like guiding patterns. What you see as beauty, insects see as a map. From a Jungian perspective, this clearly reflects a deeper truth. Each living being inhabits its own perceptual reality. There is no single world, only worlds interpreted in different ways. Scent, a story told through time. Flowers do not release scent at random. Their fragrance changes throughout the day, differs between morning, noon, and night, responds to humidity and temperature, adjusts to the target pollinator species. Flowers know who will arrive and when. Jung believed that the unconscious operates in rhythms, not rigid schedules. The scent of flowers does the same. It is a living rhythm, not a static signal. Heat, communication through microclimates. Some flowers are warmer than the surrounding air, able to create gentle thermal zones for insects, capable of emitting heat signals that guide approach. Flowers do not merely look beautiful, they create environments. They do not invite through command, but through a feeling of safety. In Jungian psychology, a sense of safety is always the condition for connection, whether between people or between flowers and insects. Sound and vibration, an invisible language. Flowers do not produce sound as humans hear it, but they sense and respond to vibration, the beating of bee wings, movements of air, minute oscillations. Flowers adjust nectar production when they hear the right vibrations. This is not mechanical reflex, it is fine-tuning. Jung referred to such phenomena as instinctive intelligence, a form of knowing that requires no conscious thought. Electric and magnetic fields, communication we rarely notice. Flowers generate very weak electric fields, static electrical signals, interactions with electrically charged insects. Insects sense flowers before touching them. An encounter occurs even before contact. In Jungian symbolism, this mirrors unconscious encounters where connection happens before awareness. Surface texture and subtle movement. Petals are not randomly smooth. They contain grooves, fine hairs, varying degrees of roughness, delicate movements when touched by wind or insects. Every detail is a guide. Flowers do not need to say, "Go this way." The insect's body understands on its own. Jung believed the most powerful symbols are those that require no explanation. Each flower species follows its own communication script. There is no universal language, no mass-produced design. Each flower is a story, written specifically for one species of bee, one species of bird, one precise moment in the day. This is nature's precision. Nothing excessive, nothing missing. A sleep-oriented perspective. What flowers teach us about quiet communication. Flowers do not persuade. They do not argue. They do not impose. They communicate through resonance. And perhaps that is why when we think of flowers, the mind softens. There is no conflict, no demand, only a meeting at the right moment. Flowers do not speak, yet the whole world listens. They do not command, yet behavior is guided. They do not control, yet life continues. And in the next part, we will go even deeper to where flowers do not merely communicate, but guide behavior with astonishing subtlety, not through force, but through design. You do not need to remember every detail. Just let these invisible languages whisper until you gently fall asleep. In the previous part, we saw that flowers are never silent. They communicate through color, scent, heat, vibration, electric fields, and delicate geometry, not through words, but through perfect alignment with the senses of other beings. And when communication becomes refined enough, something deeper, quieter begins to appear. Flowers do not only invite, they guide, not through coercion, not through power, but through design. Part 3. The subtle art of manipulation for reproduction. The word manipulation can sound heavy when placed in the natural world, but in the language of evolution, manipulation carries no moral meaning. It simply means influencing the behavior of another living being in a way that increases survival. Flowers have no intention, no conscious plan, but over millions of years, the most effective designs have been preserved. Carl Gustav Jung wrote in The Structure and Dynamics of the Psyche Nature is not moral or immoral. It is simply effective. Deception not to harm, but to allow life to continue. Some flowers offer no nectar, no pollen, no reward at all, and yet they are still pollinated. How? The scent of decay, pheromones identical to those of female insects, shapes that mimic the bodies of other organisms. Insects arrive believing they have found something familiar. Jung called this the power of the archetype, images and signals that reach directly into the depths of instinct, bypassing reason entirely. Flowers do not deceive insects through thought. They activate archetypes. When images matter more than facts, a gently curved petal, a suggestive color, a familiar scent. It does not have to be true. It only has to be close enough. In Jungian psychology, this is precisely how the unconscious operates. It does not seek objective truth. It seeks symbolic resonance. Flowers understood this long before humans did. Temporary containment, not a trap, but a rhythm. Some flowers close their petals after an insect enters, hold it inside for a short time, reopen only when pollen has adhered sufficiently. No harm, no killing, just holding at exactly the right moment. This is not violence, it is perfectly timed biological rhythm. Jung wrote in Psychological Types, the unconscious works with timing, not logic. So do flowers. Adjustment after each visit, memory without memory. Flowers do not remember as humans do, but they change after every interaction. Nectar decreases, scent subtly shifts, petal shape alters ever so slightly. Flowers respond to what has just occurred, not through memory but through adaptive physiology. In Jungian psychology, this reflects unconscious, adaptive intelligence, learning without awareness, distinguishing thieves from collaborators. Not every visitor is welcomed equally. Flowers can alter structure to block nectar thieves, adjust scent to deter non-pollinators, reward helpful species more generously. No judgment, only functional distinction. Jung believed the unconscious works the same way. It is unconcerned with morality, only with systemic balance. Chemistry, when feeling is shaped from within. Some flowers contain caffeine, mild stimulants, compounds that enhance insect memory. Insects return more often, not because they are forced, but because the experience feels better. Jung wrote in The Symbolic Life, what attracts us is not reason but feeling. Flowers understand this deeply. Flowers do not coerce, they design experience. The most important truth is this: flowers do not command, they do not force. They create experiences that other beings enter willingly. This is the highest form of influence. In Jungian psychology, this is also how deep healing occurs, not by forcing consciousness, but by shaping an environment in which the unconscious can regulate itself. Flowers as mirrors of subtle guidance. Humans often believe that control is power, coercion is efficiency. Flowers show a different path. Power lies in design, not force. Perhaps this is why, when we think of flowers, the mind softens. No conflict, no struggle, only flow. A sleep-oriented perspective. You do not need to try. Before sleep, you do not need to control your mind. Let it be gently guided, as insects are guided by flowers. No pushing, no pulling, no forcing. Flowers survive not through strength but through intelligent design, not through speech but through experience. And in the next part, we will go even deeper, where each flower appears as a living work of engineering, operating through geometry, physics, and chemistry as softly as a slow dream. You do not need to remember these strategies. Just let the feeling drift, like a petal closing in the night. In the previous part, we saw that flowers do not survive through force or coercion. They guide behavior through design, through experience, through choices that feel so natural we forget they were calculated over millions of years. And when we observe even more closely, a quiet truth appears. Flowers are not just living beings, they are functioning structures of engineering, not made by human hands, without blueprints, without consciousness, yet precise, efficient, and beautiful enough to seem merely poetic. Part 4. Flowers as living engineering. Structures. Humans often believe engineering is the product of conscious intelligence, that one needs a brain, a plan, a calculations to create a machine. But flowers reveal another truth. Engineering can emerge without engineers. All it needs is time, geometry, and life. Carl Gustav Jung wrote in Modern Man in Search of a Soul, "The unconscious is not chaotic by nature. It has its own order. Petals are the physical expression of that order. Petals as sound amplifiers. Flowers do not hear with ears. Yet many species respond to vibration. The shape of petals, gently curved, layered, oriented toward wind direction, amplifies minute air vibrations, the hum of bee wings, subtle oscillations, movements humans never notice. From a Jungian perspective, this mirrors a mind attuned to weak signals, a capacity for deep listening that modern humans have gradually lost. Petals as lenses of light. Light striking a flower is not merely reflected, it is bent, focused, guided. Flower color is not just decoration, it is optical control. Petals function as biological lenses, light filters, spectral signposts. Jung said symbols are not only seen but felt. Flowers use light to speak directly to the nervous systems of other beings. Biological solar panels, quiet energy. Flowers have no batteries, no wires, no circuits. Yet they absorb light, transform energy, regulate heat. They operate on solar power in the quietest way possible. No noise, no excess. Jung saw this as a symbol of self-sustaining systems, ones that do not require constant control to survive. Microheaters, warmth as signal. Some flowers are warmer than their surroundings, capable of maintaining stable temperature, able to create resting points for insects. Flowers do not attract only through sight. They attract through sensation. Warmth is a very ancient language, older than vision, older than consciousness. Jung wrote in Symbols of Transformation, warmth is one of the oldest symbols of psychic safety. Climate-controlled chambers, perfect microenvironments. Inside a flower, humidity differs from the outside. Wind slows. Heat is retained. Flowers create their own microclimates. not to dominate the environment, but to allow encounters to happen correctly. This mirrors how the unconscious heals, not by changing the world, but by reshaping the space of experience. Aerodynamic systems guiding without force. Petals curve with airflow. Guide insect movement. Slow, accelerate, or redirect paths. There are no signposts, yet the body knows where to go. Jung called this symbolic guidance when behavior changes without command. Labyrinths of movement. Many flowers are labyrinths of light, labyrinths of scent, labyrinths of geometry. Insects follow the correct route without realizing they are being guided. No pressure, no coercion, just the easiest path. This is the highest art of design. Each flower is a silent machine. If humans build machines to amplify force, flowers build machines to harmonize ecosystems. No on-off switches. No central control. Only geometry, physics, chemistry, and time. Jung believed such systems reflect the deep order of nature, where intelligence exists without consciousness. A sleep-oriented perspective when understanding is unnecessary. You do not need to remember every function. No need to analyze every mechanism. Just sense that the world operates more subtly than we imagine. And when you feel that the mind begins to let go, no urge to control, no pressure to understand everything. Flowers are not miracles. They are time distilled into form. And in the next part, we will step beyond individual flowers into an even deeper layer, where flowers become centers of living networks, connecting trees, fungi, insects, microorganisms, and even humans in a silent yet enduring system. If your eyelids feel heavy, let it happen. These biological machines will continue operating even after you have fallen asleep. In the previous part, we saw flowers as living engineering structures, delicate systems operating through geometry, physics, and chemistry, so precise and gentle, they require no consciousness to function. But a quiet question arises. How do such fragile structures survive in a world that is not gentle at all? Nature's answer is slow but certain. Flowers were not designed only to be beautiful. They were designed to live. Part 5. Adapting to the harshness of every environment. Human beings often associate life with favorable conditions. Enough water, fertile soil, mild temperatures, balanced light. But flowers, the beings that seem most fragile, appear in places we call impossible. Carl Gustav Jung wrote in Psychology and Alchemy, "Life does not avoid darkness, it grows through it." Flowers are the quiet proof of this truth. In ice and snow, when life learns to wait. In frozen regions, flowers do not compete in speed. They learn patience, shortened life cycles, slowed metabolism, antifreeze cellular structures, blooming in extremely brief moments, not living long, but living at the right time. In Jungian psychology, this is a symbol of unconscious adaptation to circumstance, not resisting reality, but adjusting one's rhythm to meet it. In the desert, when conservation becomes wisdom, the desert allows no waste. Flowers here shorten blooming time, store water in their tissues, bloom at night, use color and scent with extreme selectivity. Every action has a reason. Jung saw this as an image of minimalist unconscious intelligence, a system that retains only what is necessary to survive. On high mountains, when light and wind become trials, at great altitudes, light is intense, winds are fierce, temperatures fluctuate widely. Flowers adapt by staying close to the ground, thick petals, deep saturated colors, heat-retaining structures, not reaching upward, but becoming, in symbolic language, this is a lesson in the humility of life. On bare rock and volcanic soil, when foundation disappears, no fertile soil, no nutrients, no support, and still flowers grow. Roots cling to rock crevices, symbiosis with fungi, use of raw minerals. Life does not require perfect ground. It only needs a different strategy. Jung called this the self-organizing capacity of the unconscious, creating order where nothing seems to exist. Underground in dark caves, when light is no longer required, some flowers bloom entirely in darkness, do not rely on color, communicate through scent and chemistry. When one channel closes, another opens. This is a core principle of Jungian psychology, where consciousness cannot reach the unconscious takes over. After wildfires, lightning, floods, when destruction opens the way, some flowers appear only after fires, after catastrophe, after everything has been erased. Destruction is not the end. It is the condition for a new form of life. Jung wrote in Symbols of Transformation, where destruction occurs, new life seeks expression. On water surfaces in darkness, when space is inverted, flowers do not need to stand still. They can drift, float, cling, bloom at night. There is no fixed form for life, only continuous flexibility. There is no environment where life is impossible. The message flowers whisper very softly, very deeply, is this: there is no place where life cannot exist. Only strategies not yet discovered. In Jungian psychology, this is the spirit of individuation, not becoming a model, but becoming the most adaptive version of oneself. A sleep-oriented perspective. When you do not need to be strong, you do not need to endure life. You do not need to force yourself to adapt to a fixed mold. Flowers do not do that. They change form without losing essence. And perhaps that is why when we think of flowers, the mind softens. Flowers survive, not because they are rigid, but because they are endlessly flexible. And in the next part, we will leave harsh environments behind and step into an even deeper layer, where flowers become centers of living networks, invisibly yet enduringly, connecting trees, fungi, insects, microorganisms, and humans as well. If you feel a gentle warmth spreading in your chest, it is simply your body recognizing something ancient life always knows how to continue. In the previous part, we saw that flowers can exist in the harshest places. They do not need ideal conditions. They only need a way of living that fits. But when we look more closely, we realize something even deeper. Flowers never truly live alone. Even when growing on bare cliffs in dry deserts or among frozen snow around every flower, there is always an invisible network at work. Part 6. Flowers as centers of living networks. Humans often tell the story of nature through isolated individuals, a tree, an animal, a flower. But nature does not live through isolated units. It lives through relationships. Carl Gustav Jung wrote in The Undiscovered Self, man is not an island. He is part of a greater psychic and biological whole. So are flowers. Flowers do not use others, they cooperate. Flowers do not survive through domination. They cooperate with fungi to extend root systems, bacteria to process nutrients, insects to transport pollen, birds and mammals to disperse seeds. No one is the absolute center. Each plays a role. In Jungian psychology, this mirrors the balance among complexes in the psyche. None should dominate. All must cooperate. A single flower is a miniature community. Within and around a flower, microorganisms live. Ants take shelter. Yeasts are active. Bacteria exchange chemicals. A petal is not just a petal. It is habitat. Jung called such structures symbols of the self, a center where many different parts coexist. The underground fungal network, the forest's nervous system. Beneath the surface, flower roots connect with tree roots through mycorrhizal fungal networks, exchanging nutrients, sending stress signals, distributing resources. Flowers may not know the forest, but the forest knows the flowers. In Jungian psychology, this is an image of the collective unconscious, an invisible network connecting individuals without their awareness. Coordinated blooming. When the community breathes together, flowers do not bloom randomly. They synchronize with seasons, respond to lunar cycles, adjust to surrounding landscapes. Blooming is a collective act. No one gives orders, no one commands, yet all know when the time is right. Jung wrote in Synchronicity and a causal connecting principle. Meaningful coincidence is a fact of nature. Flowers as intersections, not destinations. Flowers are not centers of power, they are centers of meeting, where insects pause, where microorganisms exchange, where energy is transformed. Flowers are intersections of flows. Just as in the human psyche, a healthy ego is not a place of control, but of harmonious connection. When life is no longer competition, we are often taught that nature is a struggle for survival. But flowers tell a different story. Long-term life depends on cooperation. Competition is only a small part. Networks are the foundation. Jung believed psychological crisis arises when humans lose the sense of belonging to a larger whole. Flowers have never lost that sense. A sleep-oriented perspective. You are not living alone. If you are listening to this at night, perhaps a familiar feeling is emerging: less loneliness. Not because someone is beside you, but because you remember that life is a network. You do not have to carry everything alone. You do not have to understand, heal, or be strong by yourself. Flowers as symbols of belonging. In Jungian symbolism, flowers often represent wholeness, a gentle center, the ability to connect inner and outer worlds. It is no accident that flowers appear so often in healing dreams. Flowers do not live to stand out. They live to connect. And in the next part, we will slowly step into a very different dimension. The time of flowers, a form of time not measured by clocks, but by cycles, waiting, and moments. If you feel yourself drifting gently within an invisible network, let it happen. There is nothing more to do. In the previous part, we left behind the idea of isolated life. Flowers appeared as nodes in living networks, where biological, chemical, and symbolic flows meet. And once a network exists, a very natural question arises. By what rhythm of time does this network operate? Not the time of clocks, not the time of schedules, not the hurried time humans know so well, but the time of flowers. Part 7. The time of flowers is not the time of humans. Humans measure time with numbers, with minutes, hours, days, years, with linear movement before, after, fast, slow. But flowers do not live in time this way. Flowers live in rhythm. Carl Gustav Jung wrote in Memories, Dreams, Reflections, "Time is not something we experience directly. We experience change. Flowers are beings of change, not of clocks. Flowers count time through light and darkness. Flowers do not know the hour. They do not know calendars. They do not know what day it is. But they know the length of the day, the shortness of the night, subtle changes in light. With only a few minutes of altered light, a flower already knows." In Jungian psychology, this is an image of unconscious time, time that is not consciously perceived yet shapes the entire inner life. Seasonal cycles, time as a circle. For flowers, spring does not come after winter in a linear sense. It is a turning of a wheel, each return similar yet never identical. The time of flowers is cyclical, not linear. Jung called this archetypal time the time of ancient cultures, the time of ritual, the time of dreams. Lunar cycles, a rhythm deeper than light. Some flowers bloom according to the moon, change scent with lunar phases, synchronize biologically with tides. Flowers do not live only on the ground, they listen to the sky. Jung wrote in Man and His Symbols that natural cycles are always imprinted in the human unconscious even when we no longer notice them. Some flowers bloom for only minutes, and that is enough. There are flowers that bloom for just a few minutes, release scent briefly, close and complete their life cycle. No need to last longer, no need to repeat. Their existence is not measured by duration but by the wholeness of the moment. Jung believed such moments are where the unconscious and consciousness touch. Some flowers wait for decades. Conversely, there are flowers that store energy for decades. Do not bloom until conditions are perfect. Bloom only once. A whole life devoted to a single moment. In Jungian symbolism, this reflects the process of individuation. A human life is not meant to do many things, but to become at the right time, living an entire life for one blooming. When a flower blooms and fades, there is no regret, no comparison, no if only. Flowers do not cling to past time. Jung wrote the archetypes and the collective unconscious fulfillment does not depend on duration but on meaning. Time as a biological tool. For flowers, time is not an enemy, not pressure, not something to be managed. Time is a biological tool used to activate, delay, protect, optimize. Nothing more, nothing less. Reflected in humans. When we grow tired of time, humans are often tired, not because they lack time, but because they live in time that does not belong to them. Flowers do not do this. They do not chase external rhythms. They remain faithful to their inner tempo. Jung believed psychological crises arise when people lose touch with their own rhythm. A sleep-oriented perspective. You do not need to hurry. If you are listening to this late at night, a very gentle feeling may be emerging. There is no need to move faster anymore. You do not need to catch up. You do not need to be on time by any standard. Like flowers, you only need to be true to your own rhythm. Flowers do not live less time than humans. They simply live differently. And perhaps as we learn to listen to that rhythm, the mind begins to slow down as well. If your eyelids are growing heavy, let them close. There is nothing to keep up with anymore. The time of sleep has arrived. As we come to the final moments of this story, perhaps you no longer think of flowers as you did at the beginning. No longer just fragile petals, not merely colors or fragrances, not simply beauty to glance at briefly. Flowers have revealed themselves as beings that can sense, communicate, guide, adapt, connect, and live within a rhythm of time entirely different from our own. Throughout this journey, we have not tried to prove anything. We have not sought to persuade you with data or numbers. Because what flowers whisper to us does not live in the realm of understanding but in a deeper realm of feeling. Carl Gustav Jung believed that modern humans are tired not because they lack knowledge, but because they have lost contact with natural symbols that once helped our ancestors feel they belonged to the world. Flowers are one of those symbols. They do not compete for attention. They do not try to be seen. They do not need to be fully understood. Flowers simply exist. And perhaps that is why your mind has softened while listening to this story. Because, at a very deep level, the human psyche longs for the same thing: not to do better, not to achieve more, but simply to be. Flowers do not live fast. They do not rush. They do not fear missing out. A flower may wait years, decades, just to bloom for a single brief moment. And that moment is enough. No need to extend it. No need to repeat it. No need to remember it. In the world of flowers, time is not an enemy. It is a quiet companion. Perhaps by now, your body has begun to feel heavier, your breath slower, scattered thoughts dissolving, no longer needing to be followed. That is entirely natural. Just as flowers close their petals at night, your mind is doing what it has always known how to do when it is no longer being pushed, returning to rest. You do not need to hold on to this entire story. You do not need to remember scientific details. You do not need names or mechanisms. What needed to be planted has already been placed in a very quiet place within you, like a small seed laid into the soil at the right time. That seed does not need your thoughts to care for it. It will know when to grow and when to sleep. Carl Jung wrote that the unconscious understands us more deeply than we imagine. It knows when to act and when to rest. And right now, your unconscious is recognizing a familiar signal: night has come. There is nothing left to complete. No question that needs answering. Nothing left to control. Like a flower in the dark, you do not disappear when you sleep. You simply shift into another state. A state where the outer world softens and the inner world opens gently. If you are listening to this video to fall asleep, you may let the voice continue drifting or allow it to fade into a distant background sound without needing to distinguish each word. And if you fell asleep somewhere along the way, that is perfectly fine. Flowers do not mind if you miss the moment they bloom. Sleep is the same. Now there is nothing left to stay awake for. Let your eyelids close. Let your breath slow a little more. Let your body sink down like a petal, releasing itself into the quiet night. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing yourself to slow down. And if you are ready, sleep well, sleep deeply, sleep gently, and let the flowers continue whispering somewhere far away inside your dreams.